There's a man out there, a man who's tired of pretending, tired of smiling when his soul feels heavy, tired of standing in rooms full of noise and still feeling unseen. He's been quiet lately, not because he has nothing to say, but because he's learning that silence speaks louder than words. He's not chasing attention anymore. He's chasing something far more dangerous: clarity. He's been disappearing from people, from parties, from meaningless noise, because deep down he knows something's changing. He's walking alone, not because he's lost, but because he's finally found the courage to stop following the crowd. You know who I'm talking about, don't you? Yeah? It's you. There comes a point in every man's life when the noise becomes too much, when the faces around him start to blur, and every conversation feels empty, when he realizes he's surrounded by people, yet feels completely alone. That's when the transformation begins. The lone wolf arc doesn't start with success. It starts with silence. It starts with loss. It starts when you walk away from comfort, from validation, from everything that once made you feel safe. You begin to notice how meaningless most things are, how much time you wasted trying to be understood, how often you bent your back just to fit into places you'd outgrown. And that's when you vanish, not to escape the world, but to rebuild yourself away from it. At first, it's chaos. Your phone goes silent. Your old friends stop checking in. You start questioning everything: your purpose, your value, your direction. You stare at the ceiling some nights, wondering if you made the right choice, but then something strange happens. The quiet starts to feel like home. You stop craving noise. You stop needing validation. You stop explaining yourself. And the longer you stay in solitude, the sharper your vision becomes. You begin to see who you truly are without filters, without masks, without lies. The man you were starts to fade. The man you're meant to become starts to rise. Isolation isn't loneliness. It's purification. You cut people off, not because you hate them, but because you're learning to love yourself enough to stop tolerating what weakens you. You start to understand. The journey to greatness was never meant to be crowded. Every wolf must walk alone, for it leads the pack. So you build in silence. You heal in silence, you cry in silence, and you rise in silence, because the noise outside can't guide you where you're going. This chapter is meant to be written with pain, patience, and prayer. And when the world wonders where you went, tell them this: I didn't disappear, I evolved. Once the silence settles, the real work begins. Every man wants to rise, but few are willing to bleed for it. You wake up tired. You train when nobody's watching. You study when everyone else is sleeping. You push yourself past limits that used to break you. You're not motivated anymore. You're possessed. The lone wolf doesn't wait for the perfect moment. He creates it. There are days when you'll want to quit, when your body screams for rest, when your mind tells you it's pointless. But that's when you remind yourself, this pain is temporary. This hunger is sacred. And every rep, every word, every sacrifice is a brick in the empire you're building in the dark. You start to realize something profound. No one's coming to save you. No one's clapping for you. No one's checking your progress. And yet you move, you grind, you stay disciplined, because now it's not about proving others wrong. It's about proving yourself right. The man you were, lazy, distracted, inconsistent, he's gone, buried under the weight of every disciplined day. You refuse to give up. Discipline becomes your language. Structure becomes your peace. And purpose becomes your oxygen. Every morning feels like war, and every night feels like victory. You're not in competition with anyone anymore. You're in competition with who you were yesterday. But here's the truth they never tell you. Discipline hurts. It breaks you before it builds you. There are nights you'll feel empty. Days when the grind feels meaningless. Moments when you question whether it's worth it. But remember, the darkest nights are where the stars are born, and one day, you'll wake up and realize you've become everything you once prayed for. The winter didn't end suddenly. It faded quietly, just like it began. And somewhere between those long nights and silent mornings, you changed. The routine that once felt like punishment now feels like purpose. You move differently now, slower, calmer, certain, because the storm you survived didn't destroy you, it defined you. You've walked through darkness, and now you understand light in ways others never will. You've lost people, but found yourself, and this is your rebirth. You're no longer seeking purpose, you are the purpose. You're no longer waiting for the right time. You are the time. You don't chase opportunities. You create them. You are the storm. That silence was preparing. The man, the pain was shaping. The wolf that winter was training. The world may not recognize you yet, but that's okay. Because kings return quietly, and when they do, the world bows. So when the coming year arrives, it won't meet the same man who entered the last. It will meet the evolved version, the one who faced his demons and didn't flinch. The one who learned that comfort kills potential, the one who now moves with divine purpose. Let them talk, let them doubt, let them laugh, because when the smoke clears, you'll be standing where they said you'd never reach. This is the Lone Wolf Arc, a sacred passage every great man must endure. It's not a phase, it's a prophecy. It's the quiet rebirth of every soul destined for greatness. And if you're walking through it, right now, if you're tired, if you're misunderstood, if you're all alone, congratulations. You're exactly where you need to be, because this loneliness isn't your punishment, it's your awakening. The world won't understand it now, but one day they'll see. One day, they'll speak your name with respect. Nobody cares. Not about your excuses, not about your pain, not about how tired you are. The world only sees results, not the struggle behind them. And that's the first truth you need to accept if you ever want to change your life. You can sit there and cry about how unfair life is, how unlucky you are, how much you've been through, but while you do that, someone out there is still working. Someone's out training you, out learning you, out grinding you. And that someone will take everything you ever dreamed of, because life doesn't stop for your feelings. It doesn't care if you're not ready. It moves forward with or without you. Here's the truth, and it's brutal. Life doesn't reward potential. It rewards execution. You could be talented, smart, even gifted, but if you don't put in the work, your dreams will rot. And one day you'll wake up realizing the people you used to look down on passed you. You'll see them winning, building, becoming, and you'll be standing there, blaming luck, while deep down you'll know it was never about luck. It was about effort. It was about showing up when it was hard, when it was boring, when nobody clapped for you. The world doesn't owe you anything. Not a job, not happiness, not success. If you want it, you earn it. If you don't, someone else will. You either build your own life or you become a background character in someone else's. Discipline equals freedom. And that's not just a quote, it's a law. The more disciplined you are, the freer you become, because when you control your habits, you control your destiny. Let's talk about what happens when you don't get stronger. You lose respect from others and from yourself. You start accepting average. You start lying to yourself that you'll start tomorrow. But tomorrow never comes. Every time you skip the gym, scroll instead of study, or quit because it's uncomfortable, you train your mind to give up. And the sad truth, you get good at it. You become an expert at quitting. Regret, that's the real pain most men live with. Not the pain of hard work, but the pain of knowing they could have been more. Every time you choose comfort, you're trading away your future for a small moment of ease. That's not living, that's dying slowly. The easy path leads to a hard life, but the hard path leads to an easy one. You can't avoid struggle. You either suffer now through growth or later through regret, and regret lasts forever. Nobody's coming to save you. Nobody's going to knock on your door and hand you discipline. You either decide to face your demons or you live as their prisoner. And if that sounds harsh, good, because reality is harsh, and the sooner you accept that, the sooner you'll stop waiting for motivation and start acting out of purpose. As a man, your value isn't given, it's built. You're judged by what you can endure, by what you can produce, by how you move when things fall apart. A man who can't handle pressure isn't respected, no matter how nice he is, because life will test you. It'll break your plans, crush your comfort, and laugh while you crawl. But if you keep going, if you rise every single time, you become unstoppable. Think about it. Every great man you admire was forged in hardship. They didn't cry about it. They didn't wait for perfect conditions. They made something out of pain. Out of suffering have emerged the strongest souls. When you embrace suffering, you stop being afraid of it. You realize that pain isn't your enemy, weakness is, and once that clicks, nothing can stop you. The real battle isn't out there, it's in your head. Every day your mind tries to pull you back into comfort. It whispers, "You've done enough." But that voice is lying. The enemy isn't your boss, your past, or your circumstances. It's that lazy, undisciplined part of you that keeps convincing you to settle, and if you keep listening to it, it will destroy you from within. Because comfort is a slow poison. It feels good now, but it kills your future. Every time you avoid discomfort, you choose weakness over power. You choose temporary pleasure over permanent growth. That's why you must learn to love the grind, to fall in love with the process, not the results. Because results come and go, but discipline stays. And discipline is what turns ordinary men into legends. There will be days when nobody believes in you, days when you fail again and again, days when you'll question why you even started. But those are the days that separate the men from the boys. Those are the days when you must remind yourself, nobody cares. Nobody cares how hard it is. Nobody cares how you feel. Do it anyway. Because the moment you stop chasing validation, you become dangerous. You start working for yourself, not for attention. You start moving in silence, and one day, the same people who doubted you will wonder how you did it. First they ignore you, then they laugh at you, then they fight you, then you win. Every rep you push when you're tired, every study session when your mind wants to quit, every time you wake up early when you could have slept in, that's you becoming stronger. Not just physically, mentally, spiritually. You're building a man who can't be broken. You're building a future version of yourself who can handle any storm, because strength isn't built in comfort, it's built in chaos. The world respects results, not excuses. And the only way to win in this world is to be undeniable. So become that man. become so consistent, so disciplined, so obsessed, that even your demons get tired of fighting you. You want freedom, earn it. You want respect, build it. You want success, bleed for it. Because the truth is, you get what you tolerate. If you tolerate excuses, you'll stay average. But if you demand greatness from yourself, life will eventually have no choice but to give it. One day the people around you will see what you became. They'll see the results of all those silent nights, all those lonely grinds, all those unseen battles, and they'll call you lucky, but you'll know it wasn't luck. It was hours of pain. It was sacrifice. It was choosing to keep going when nobody cared. When you want to succeed as bad as you want to breathe, then you'll be successful. And by then, you'll understand that strength was never about muscles or status. It was about willpower. It was about refusing to quit, no matter how dark it got. So here's the message, man to man. Nobody's coming to save you. Nobody's going to do the push-ups for you. Nobody's going to chase your dreams for you. You either take control now or life will control you. You can complain or you can change. You can cry or you can conquer. But you can't do both. You've got one shot at this life. One, don't waste it chasing comfort. Don't waste it pleasing others. Become the man who looks in the mirror and says, I built this. Because at the end of the day, nobody cares how you feel. They only care if you win. So get up, get stronger, and don't stop until you become everything they said you couldn't be. They won't understand your grind now, but one day, they'll have to respect it. He woke up before the sun again. Not because he wanted to, but because there was something inside him that refused to let him sleep in a quiet fire, a silent storm, a voice that kept telling him, you were made for more than comfort. Most men today no longer hear that voice. They've replaced it with distraction, with excuses, with softness disguised as self-care. They avoid pain like it's a plague, and chase pleasure like it's salvation. But this man, he walked a different path, a path older than time, a path of warriors, emperors, soldiers, thinker, a path carved by the Stoics, Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, Epictetus, men who mastered themselves long before they tried mastering the world. And now it's your turn. A Stoic is not emotionless. He is not cold. He is not robotic. A Stoic is a man who feels everything, but refuses to be owned by anything. He can feel sadness, but he still shows up. He can feel anger, but he controls the flame. He can feel fear, but he steps forward anyway, because the Stoic mindset is not about killing your emotions. It's about training them. Your emotions become your soldiers, not your commanders. And when you reach that level of control, that level of self-command, you become something rare, something powerful, something unshakable. Most men today get destroyed by the smallest inconvenience: slow Wi-Fi, a delayed reply, a stressful day at work, one comment from someone they barely know. You're different, or at least you want to be. Let's be honest. You know you've been slipping. You know there are days you wake up and say, I'll start tomorrow. I don't feel it today. I'm tired. And every time you say that, you give away a piece of your strength, a piece of your potential, a piece of the man you're supposed to become. And slowly, you become a spectator of your own life, watching others rise, watching others improve, watching others build, grind, discipline themselves, while you stay stuck in the same place. Ask yourself this right now. How many times have you promised yourself you were going to change only to fall back into the same habits? How many times have you had your first hell week only to crash in your second week? Why? Because you rely on motivation instead of discipline. Because you rely on emotion instead of principle. Because you rely on comfort instead of purpose. That ends today. Stoicism is not theory. It's not philosophy class. It's a weapon, a shield, a discipline. It's the art of staying strong when everything inside you wants to run. It's the ability to say, I don't feel like it, but I will do it anyway. That one sentence can reshape your life, because the man who only works when he feels like it will always lose to the man who works no matter what. You think Marcus Aurelius felt motivated when he woke up at 3 a.m. during a war? You think Seneca felt inspired every day to face political chaos? You think Epictetus, born a slave, waited for the perfect mood? No. Stoics act because action is the only thing that creates results. Emotion is a suggestion, action is a command, and greatness listens to commands, not moods. You want to control your life? Start by controlling your mind, not the world, not your friends, not your circumstances. You. If a man cannot command himself, the world will command him. And right now, the world wants you weak. It wants you passive. It wants you tired, distracted, addicted, overstimulated, and emotionally fragile. Because a weak man is easy to control, easy to manipulate, easy to sell to. You think it's a coincidence. Every app is designed to steal your attention. Every trend pushes you towards comfort. Every message tells you, take it easy, slow down. Life is short, enjoy it. You don't need more enjoyment. You need more direction. Stoicism gives you that direction. It gives you a blueprint. Control what you can, accept what you cannot, and strengthen yourself so you can handle both. Let me break it down clearly. Here's what a modern Stoic does every single day. He wakes up before his weakness does. He trains physically and mentally. He keeps his promises to himself. He doesn't complain, he adapts. He doesn't run from discomfort. He walks into it. He rewrites his story through choices, not excuses. He does what needs to be done, not what he feels like doing. He practices gratitude, discipline, and self-control. A Stoic man is not perfect. He is simply committed to the path, committed to improvement, committed to becoming stronger than yesterday. And that consistency, that is what creates greatness. Let's talk about pain. Most men avoid it. You're going to use it. Life will hurt you. Life will test you. Life will pressure you, break you down, embarrass you, humble you, crush your expectations, and expose your weaknesses. But pain is not the enemy. Pain is the doorway, the teacher, the sculptor, the mentor. Seneca said, "A gem cannot be polished without friction, nor a man perfected without trials." So ask yourself, are you the gem, or are you the stone that refuses to be shaped? You won't build this mindset by talking. You won't build it by posting quotes. You won't build it by watching motivational videos all day. You build it when you wake up early and nobody applauds. When you hit the gym while others sleep. When you work on your goals alone. When you study while your friends waste time. When you say no to comfort and yes to discipline. When you show up on days you feel broken. Stoicism is forged in silence, not spotlight. The world sees your results, not the battles inside your mind. Now listen to me, because this part is for you, not the story. You know what your life looks like right now. You know what you're avoiding. You know the habits that are destroying you. You know the potential that's dying inside you. And deep down, you know you were meant for more. Because if you don't, your dreams will expire. Your potential will fade. Your life will shrink. And one day you'll look in the mirror and see not the man you wanted to be, but the man you settled for. And that regret, that will stay with you forever. Every man faces two paths, the path of ease and the path of strength. One leads to comfort, distraction, excuses, and regret. The other leads to discipline, resilience, power, and legacy. Which one are you taking? Because you cannot be both comfortable and unstoppable. And once you reach that point, nothing can move you. Not opinions, not stress, not rejection. You become a man of depth, a man of character, a stoic, a warrior, a king. Your new chapter begins right now, not tomorrow, not next week, not when you feel ready. Right now, because the stoic man doesn't wait, he becomes. You ever wonder why you start something strong, only to fall apart when it gets uncomfortable? Why every Monday you say, "This time I'll change," and by Friday, you're back to the same habits? You've been through your first hell week. We all have. The first week when you wake up early, eat clean, grind hard, and feel unstoppable. But the second week comes, and suddenly it's raining. You're tired, nobody's watching, and that voice in your head says, "Just one day off, bro." But one day becomes three becomes a week, and soon you're right back where you started. You see, this world doesn't reward those who start strong. It rewards those who never stop. And most men never make it past that second hell week. They think pain means stop. But pain is not your enemy. It's your entrance exam. That's what "can't hurt me" really means. It's not about being invincible. It's about being unbreakable, enough to show up again tomorrow. When life hits you, when your dreams collapse, when you've got no motivation left, ask yourself this: what if I kept going anyway? What if, even when it's not fair, I still show up? Even when I don't feel like it, I still do it? Because here's the truth nobody wants to admit. You don't rise when you feel ready. You rise when you feel ruined. That's the moment life watches you closely. It's the moment that separates the weak from the warriors. When your comfort dies, your character is born. Every man wants success, but very few are willing to suffer for it. Everybody wants the throne, but no one wants to bleed for the crown. You say you want change, but are you willing to go through the war that change demands? Because transformation isn't poetic. It's not fireworks and motivation quotes. It's 5 a.m. alarms, empty gyms, silence, and sweat dripping down your doubt. It's you versus you every damn day. There's a version of you who's already done all this. He's disciplined, focused, untouchable. But between you and him lies pain, and most people run from that pain. The "can't hurt me" mentality isn't about running from it. It's about walking into it with a smile. When the world says, "Stop," you whisper back, "Can't hurt me." When your body says, "Quit," you grin and say, "Not today." Because every time you choose pain over comfort, you build armor. And one day, that armor becomes who you are. You remember the first time you tried to change? You were fired up, unstoppable, until the motivation wore off. You looked around, and nobody cared anymore. That's the moment most men break. But not you, not this time. Because this time, you're not chasing hype, you're chasing honor. There's a line between who you were and who you could be. And to cross it, you've got to kill the part of you that loves comfort. You've got to become allergic to excuses. You've got to treat laziness like it's an insult to your potential. Every morning you wake up, the battle begins. You either train your mind to submit to discipline, or you surrender to weakness disguised as rest. The "can't hurt me" mentality isn't about motivation, it's about control. Control over your mind when your body screams no. You say, "I'm tired." Good. You say, "It's hard." Perfect. That's the point. Growth hides behind hardship. You can't level up with the same energy that kept you average. There's this quiet pain that strong men live with. Not the pain of failure, the pain of never giving up. It's a constant grind, a relentless fire that burns even when nobody claps for you. But that's what makes you dangerous. Because when the average man quits, you keep going. When he looks for comfort, you look for challenge. When he says, "This is enough," you whisper, "I'm just getting started." Ask yourself right now, how many times have you quit because it got uncomfortable? How many times have you said, "I'll start again next week"? How many times have you broken promises to yourself and then acted like it didn't matter? That's the weight you carry, the invisible burden that keeps you weak. And the only way to drop that weight is to face it head on. Stop negotiating with your potential. You stop chasing comfort. You chase consistency. And the crazy thing, once you get obsessed with becoming better, discipline doesn't feel like suffering anymore. It feels like peace, because now you understand, freedom lives on the other side of pain. There will be mornings when you hate the grind. There will be nights when doubt whispers in your ear. But let me remind you, a lion doesn't wake up to feel motivated. He wakes up to hunt. And that's exactly what you must do. Stop waiting for inspiration. When you fail, laugh. When you're tired, push harder. When you're lost, keep walking. Because life only respects one kind of man, the one who refuses to stop. The "can't hurt me" mentality means you stop flinching at life. It means you've accepted that pain is part of the process. You've already survived 100% of your worst days. You're not soft. You're not broken. You're just unfinished. So go ahead. Train when you don't feel like it. Work when no one's watching. Fight through the silence. Because one day, you'll look in the mirror and realize the man staring back at you, he's the one you've been waiting for all along. And when life tries to hit you again, you'll just smile and say, "Can't hurt me." Listen carefully, because this message isn't motivational fluff. It's not designed to make you feel good. It's designed to wake you up. You don't rise by chasing comfort. You rise by rejecting the weakness inside you, the exact weakness that has been dictating your life without you even realizing it. And if you don't confront it now, it will destroy your potential, your identity, your future, and every version of you that could have existed. Weakness isn't physical, it's psychological. You think weakness is about muscles, or confidence, or success? No. Weakness is a habit, a pattern, a small voice in your mind that constantly negotiates with your potential. Weakness says, "Do it later. Take a break. You deserve rest. It's okay to skip today." You know that voice. You hear it every single morning. And the brutal truth, you've been obeying it, not once, not twice, but for years. Weakness trains you more consistently than discipline ever has. And the worst part, it disguises itself as logic, comfort, and self-care. You're not losing to life. You're losing to your own softness. Your life is a reflection of what you tolerate. Look around you. Everything you have right now, your body, your habits, your income, your discipline, it's all a direct reflection of what you've tolerated from yourself. If you tolerate excuses, you will live a life built on excuses. If you tolerate laziness, you will live a lazy life. If you tolerate weakness, weakness becomes your identity. And once identity forms, breaking it becomes a war. You're not stuck, you're not unlucky, you're not confused. You've simply allowed weakness to become normal. You've normalized scrolling for hours. You've normalized waking up late. You've normalized quitting when it gets uncomfortable. You've normalized avoiding pain and choosing the easy route. And every time you choose weakness, you reinforce it. Neurons fire, patterns strengthen, identity solidifies. You are literally building your own cage, one small decision at a time. Rejecting weakness starts with brutal honesty. Before you can change, you must accept a truth that most people run away from. You are the problem and you are the solution. Weakness grows when you lie to yourself, when you pretend you're trying, when you convince yourself that you're working hard, but deep down you know you're not. Honesty is painful, but nothing transforms you faster. Say it out loud. You know exactly what you should be doing. You just don't do it. You don't lack information. You don't lack knowledge. You lack the courage to face your own behaviors. Rejecting weakness is not about discipline alone. It's about becoming intensely self-aware. When you catch yourself procrastinating, stop. When you feel the urge to avoid discomfort, stop. When your mind says later, you say now. This is the internal battle nobody sees but everyone pays for. Build a mind that doesn't seek comfort. Comfort has been slowly killing you like a poison. Not instantly, not obviously, and not consistently. You've been trained to seek comfort everywhere. Comfort food, comfort entertainment, comfort mindset, comfort excuses. Wake up earlier than you want. Train when you don't feel like it. Study when your mind is tired. Work on your goals when your emotions say no. Every time you override your feelings, you strengthen your identity. You become someone who doesn't negotiate with weakness. And once that becomes who you are, your entire life changes. Your future depends on this. Think about the version of you 5 years from now. Where will he be? What will he look like? How will he talk? What kind of life will he live? Let me tell you a fact that should terrify you. You are not promised progress. You are only promised the consequences of your decisions. If you keep choosing the easy path, the next 5 years will look exactly like the last 5. Same habits, same results, same problems, same pain. Weakness doesn't just steal your present. It steals every future you could have created. Your parents are aging, opportunities are fading, time is moving, and you're still here, fighting the same battles you should have won years ago. Rejecting weakness isn't optional anymore. It's survival. You're not tired, you're undisciplined. Stop giving your emotions more power than your goals. You say you're tired. No, you're undisciplined. You say you're stressed. No, you lack structure. You say you're unmotivated. No, you're comfortable. Every great man you admire, every successful person you look up to, they all did the same thing. They rejected their weakness, not by eliminating it, but by refusing to listen to it. Weakness speaks in feelings. Strength speaks in actions. You don't need more motivation. You need more commitments. Do what needs to be done whether you feel like it or not. That's how strong men are built. Identity over feelings. Your identity shapes your destiny. If your identity is based on feelings, I don't feel like it, then your life will collapse every time your emotions shift. But if your identity is based on standards, then nothing can break you. You want to reject weakness? Change your identity. Start talking to yourself like a man who demands more. The pain you avoid now becomes the regret you live with later. This is the part most men ignore until it's too late. If you avoid pain today, you will face regret tomorrow. You can live with the pain of discipline, or you can live with the pain of knowing you wasted your potential. And that pain stays with you forever. The moment you understand this, rejecting weakness becomes the only logical choice. Build a life your weakness cannot survive. Structure is your weapon. Routine is your armor. Commitment is your sword. Once your life becomes structured, weakness suffocates. It has nowhere to hide, nowhere to grow, nowhere to survive. You become someone who doesn't chase strength. You embody it. At the end of the day, it comes down to one decision. Are you going to continue being controlled by your emotions, your comfort, your fear, your laziness? Or are you going to reject that weak version of yourself and become a man who acts, a man who executes, a man who builds himself day by day? Because here's the truth you can't escape. Weakness is always there. Strength is always an option. Your choices decide who wins. You can choose comfort, or you can choose greatness, but you cannot choose both. Make the decision right now. Reject the weakness inside you. Reject the excuses. Reject the old identity. Reject weakness. Rebuild yourself. Rise. I'm going to tell you something most people can't handle. 2026 isn't going to magically change my life. There's no miracle waiting for me. No savior coming. If I enter the new year as the same weak, distracted, unorganized man, then I deserve the exact life I have. Every result I get, every win, every loss, and I refuse to walk into 2026 as the same version of myself. I'm done pretending I have time. I'm done lying to myself. I'm done being average. This is the year I rebuild myself from the ground up. I look in the mirror and I see the truth. Every limitation, I allowed it. Every failure, I contributed to it. I've spent too many years telling myself I will change one day. Too many nights scrolling like a slave to dopamine. Too much negotiation. I finally understand something painful. My life didn't fall apart. I slowly surrendered it, not in one moment, but in tiny decisions. These small moments became my identity, and the world mirrored back exactly who I was. Unfocused, undisciplined, untransformed. In 2026, I stopped letting the mirror humiliate me. I rebuild the man staring back. Transformation is war, not a cute trend, not a motivational video, a full-scale assault on my old identity. And I'm prepared to go to war with myself. The war begins with discipline, not motivation, discipline, because motivation is emotional, discipline is structural. I know exactly what weakens me: comfort, excuses, procrastination, instant pleasure, laziness disguised as rest. I'll start tomorrow. I'm attacking these one by one. No more sleeping in, no more mindless screen, no more weak self-talk. If something makes me stronger, I double it. In 2026, I'm not negotiating with my feelings. I'm not asking myself what I want. I'm commanding myself. I become dangerous, mentally sharp. I'm not preparing for 2026. I'm preparing for war. Transformation happens when the pain of being who I am becomes greater than the fear of who I could be. So I'm ready to evolve. I'm building systems, not dreams. I'm building discipline, not hope. I'm building identity, not motivation. The new version of me in 2026 wakes up early without negotiation, trains like his life depends on it, eats like a warrior, not a victim, moves with intention, not chaos, protects his mind like a fortress, makes money with focus and logic, speaks with certainty, acts with purpose, lives with dominance, not doubt. I'm no longer chasing success. I'm becoming the type of man success chases. Every day in 2026 is a brick. Every habit is cement. Every decision is architecture. I'm constructing a new identity, not fragile, not emotional, not distracted, but unshakable. Most people will never transform because they prefer the illusion of improvement over the reality of discipline. They want comfort disguised as self-care. They want success without sacrifice. They want greatness without pain. They want a new life while protecting their old habits. I refuse to live like that. I've accepted the truth. Transformation requires sacrifice. Real sacrifice. The death of my old habits, the death of my old mindset, death of my old identity. Growth feels like pain. Discipline feels like restriction. Consistency feels boring. And that's exactly why it works. The world doesn't reward the average man who tries. The world rewards the man who executes relentlessly. So in 2026, I'm embracing the truth. Not every habit will be easy, but the stronger I become, the less life can hurt me. I'm not hoping for a better year. I'm becoming a better man. I am not entering 2026 as a spectator. I'm entering as the creator of my future. This is the year I strip away weakness. This is the year I multiply my discipline. This is the year I change everything, not because I want to, but because I refuse not to. I'm done living as the shadow of the man I could be. I'm done acting like I have infinite time. I'm done giving my power away to laziness, comfort, and distraction. 2026 is not just a new year. It's a declaration, a shift, a rebirth, an ascension. I will transform myself because no one is coming to save me. Because the world respects power, not potential. Because I owe it to myself to become the strongest, smartest, most disciplined version of me. And I will, not eventually, now, not someday, today, not when I feel ready. This is my year, my war, my transformation, my evolution, my rise. 2026 is where I become undeniable. You don't need another motivational punchline. You don't need someone screaming at you to change your life. You need clarity. You need direction. You need a calm, honest evaluation of where you are and who you're becoming. This is not a speech. This is a reset button. Because whether you admit it or not, you've reached a point where the life you're living is no longer matching the life you know you're capable of living. You feel it. You sense it. That tension inside you isn't stress, it's potential being wasted. Today is about fixing that. You're going to reset your system. You're going to restart your standards. And you're going to refocus your attention on what actually matters. And you're going to do it with logic, ownership, and discipline, not emotion. First, let's talk about where you actually are. You're not lost. You're not broken. You're not behind. Your mind is overcrowded with unfinished intentions, false expectations, old habits, and responsibilities you never questioned. You're running mental programs that drain your energy without giving anything valuable back. A reset is not emotional. A reset is mechanical. Your life like a system. When a system starts glitching, slowing down, or crashing repeatedly, you don't panic. You reset it. You clear the processes draining its resources. You stop forcing it to carry what it was never designed to carry. That's exactly what you need to do with yourself. A life reset begins with honesty. Where are you wasting the play? Majority of your time, your energy, your focus. What thoughts run through your mind without your permission? What habits repeat themselves even though you don't want them anymore? What standards have dropped so low that you barely recognize yourself? Resetting your life starts with eliminating the noise. The people, the habits, the routines, the content, the patterns that are pulling you away from the person you want to become. Your life doesn't change when you add more. Your life changes when you remove what's pulling you down. If you want clarity, subtraction matters more than addition. This is where most people get stuck. They try to build a new life on top of an old identity. But you can't upgrade a system while outdated software is still running. Resetting your life is not about becoming someone new. It's about removing everything that stopped you from being yourself. Now that you've reset, you need to restart. Restarting isn't starting from zero. It's starting from awareness. It's rebuilding your life intentionally. Instead of unconsciously following routines that don't belong to you. But here's the thing. Somewhere along the way, you lowered your standards. Not because you're weak, but because life became comfortable enough for you to tolerate mediocrity. Restarting means raising your standards back to where they should have been all along. You restart your discipline. You restart your habits. You restart your expectations of yourself. Restarting is logical. It's strategic. It's structured. Ask yourself, what did you want before the world convinced you to shrink? What habits did you plan to build but abandoned halfway? What potential did you see in yourself that you stopped pursuing? Restarting your life requires you to be brutally honest about this simple fact. You outgrew the version of yourself you've been living on, an old identity, one built on past failures, past doubts. That identity belongs to a younger version of you. You've evolved, but your habits haven't, your environment hasn't, your self-image hasn't. Restarting means bringing your daily behavior up to the level of your current potential, not your old story, not your fears, your potential. Restarting is not about motivation. Restarting is about responsibility. It's you saying, I am done living beneath myself. Now comes the part most people fail at. Focus, because you can reset your mind. You can restart your habits. But if you don't control your attention, life will control it for you. Focus is not emotional. Focus is mathematical. Your attention determines your direction. Your direction determines your decisions. Your decisions determine your identity. Every distraction steals more than your time. It steals the future you could have built with that time. Look at your life objectively. How much of your attention is tied to things that don't align with your goals? How much mental space is filled with people who don't contribute to your growth? How many hours do you lose to content that entertains you but doesn't improve you? The world profits from your distraction. Your success depends on your focus. Refocusing means becoming ruthlessly intentional with your attention. You choose what enters your mind. You choose where your time goes. You choose who gets access to your energy. You don't need to become more motivated. You need to become more selective. Refocusing is not about adding more goals. It's about narrowing down to the goals that actually matter. Because when everything is important, nothing is important. Here's the calm, logical truth most people avoid. You do not need a new life. You need a new level of responsibility. Transformation is not an emotional event. Transformation is the result of consistent alignment between three things: your mindset, your habits, your identity. The reason you feel stuck isn't because you're incapable. It's because your identity hasn't caught up with your goals. You're trying to build the life of a disciplined person while thinking like someone who still negotiates with comfort. You cannot outperform your identity. You can only act in alignment with who you believe you are. This is why the reset is essential. It clears the mental clutter. This is why the restart matters. It rebuilds your standards. This is why refocusing works. It aligns your attention with your direction. Everything begins with identity. Who are you choosing to become? Not who you think you should be. Not who other people expect you to be. Who you decide to become. Identity is a choice before it becomes a reality. You're not here to fantasize about a better life. You're here to build one. So let's be clear, simple, and logical. Exactly how level 1 intensity works. For the next 90 days, focus on 5 pillars. Physical foundation. Move every day, not to look good, to function at your highest mental and emotional capacity. Your energy influences your clarity. Your clarity influences your decisions. Your decisions define your future. Mental input. Your mind becomes what you feed. Upgrade your inputs. Books, skills, ideas, logic. Discipline. Reduce the noise. Increase the knowledge. Skill development. Choose one skill that can change your future and work on it daily. Not for motivation, but for long-term leverage. Relationships. Protect your environment. Increase time with people who grow. Reduce time with people who drain you. Your circle influences your identity more than you realize. Internal clarity. Spend time with your thoughts, not with your distractions. Journal, reflect, think logically about the direction you want your life to go. These 5 pillars will quietly rebuild your life from the inside out. The calm truth is this: your self-talk shapes your decisions long before your discipline does. If your internal voice is built on doubt, fear, hesitation, and self-limiting beliefs, your actions will follow that pattern. You need to upgrade the narrative. Stop telling yourself you're trying. Start telling yourself you're capable. Stop telling yourself you're late. Start telling yourself you're ready. Stop telling yourself change is difficult. Start telling yourself progress is logical. Your mind doesn't respond to emotion, it responds to repetition. Repeat the right beliefs long enough, and they become your identity. Big changes look impressive, but small changes build identity. You don't need massive leaps. You need consistent steps. 1% improvement is not motivational, it's mathematical. Small improvements compound into big results. You don't transform your life by intensity. You transform your life by consistency. You have every reason to reset your life today. You have every resource you need inside you. You have potential that hasn't even been accessed yet. But none of that matters unless you make a real decision. Not emotional, not temporary, not dramatic. A calm decision. A logical decision. Disciplined decision. The decision to stop negotiating with who you used to be and start aligning with who you want to become. Reset your mind, restart your standards, refocus your attention. Your new chapter won't begin when life becomes easy. It begins when you become intentional. This is your moment, not because it's dramatic, but because it's clear. Now the only question left is, will you use this moment or will you let it pass like all the others? There comes a time in every man's life when the mirror becomes an enemy, not because it lies, but because it shows the truth, the kind of truth you can't escape. You look at yourself, and for a second, you don't see a man. You see the ghost of the man you could have been, and that realization burns more than anything else. This is not vengeance against the world, no. This is vengeance against yourself, because deep down, you know you had it. The potential, the hunger, the fire. But somewhere along the way, you let it die. You stopped showing up, you started talking yourself out of your own greatness. And now, every night before you sleep, that voice whispers, "You could have been more." And you hate that voice, not because it's wrong, but because it's right. You scroll through the world, watching others rise, while you stay stuck in the same cycle. Sleep, eat, repeat, regret, and you tell yourself, "I'll change tomorrow." But tomorrow never comes. Days turn into months, dreams turn into memories, and before you know it, you've built a life around comfort, a life that kills your potential, one soft choice at a time. That's the betrayal, not from friends, not from family, but from the man in the mirror, the one who promised he'd do better and didn't. But here's the thing, a man can only run from his own shadow for so long. Eventually he stops. He looks at that reflection and says, "Enough." That's where vengeance begins. Not the kind that destroys, but the kind that rebuilds. The kind that turns regret into fuel and anger into armor. You don't want pity. You don't want validation. You want to feel alive again. Want to wake up with a reason. You want to silence that voice in your head that calls you weak. So you decide from this moment forward, you're not fighting the world. You're fighting yourself. The lazy version of you, the distracted version of you, the fearful, insecure version of you. You declare war on him. Every time you feel like quitting, he wins. Every time you choose comfort, he grows stronger. Every time you waste a day, he takes another step ahead of you. But not this time, not anymore. Because now you've seen what you're capable of, and you refuse to die with that potential still inside you. You might not have people around you right now. You might not have support. No one may understand your silence, your grind, your isolation. That's fine, because this path, this vengeance, it's personal. You're not doing it for applause. You're doing it to become the man you should have been all along. Starts with the smallest of steps. Waking up early when no one's watching. Putting your phone down. Choosing discomfort. Taking accountability. You'll fail, you'll fall. But each time, you rise again a little stronger, a little sharper, a little more dangerous. That's vengeance. That's redemption. Because vengeance isn't loud. It's not about revenge posts or fake confidence. It's silent. It's in the sweat. It's in the long nights when you keep going. It's in the quiet moments when you tell yourself, I won't quit this time. And the world won't notice at first. They'll still see the same guy. Quiet, broken, invisible. But one day, they'll look again. And they won't recognize you. Because that man they doubted, that man they forgot. He turned his pain into purpose. He turned his anger into focus. He turned his loneliness into his greatest weapon. That's the vengeance arc. The moment when a man decides he's done wasting time, done chasing validation, done being weak. When he says, I'll rebuild myself piece by piece, and I'll make them remember who I am. But more importantly, I'll make myself remember who I am. And you'll notice something powerful. Once you start walking that path, the loneliness turns into peace. The silence becomes strength, and that mirror, it no longer mocks you, it respects you, because it sees a man who didn't run from his demons. He faced them, he studied them, he conquered them. Every rep, every rejection, every night you stayed in while others partied, it all adds up. Not to fame, not to likes, but to respect, the kind you can only earn from yourself. You see, this vengeance is not about hatred, it's about love. Love for the man you could become, love for the family that depends on you, love for the version of yourself who refused to give up. That's the secret no one tells you. The greatest vengeance is self-transformation. When they expect you to break, and you rise. When they expect you to fail, and you endure. When the world forgets you, but you keep showing up anyway, you'll become unstoppable. Not because you're fearless, but because you've learned to walk with your fear. The real battle is not fought in the gym, or at work, or on social media. It's fought inside your mind every single day. The man who learns to master that battlefield, he doesn't need revenge, because his success becomes it. So let me ask you, have you started your journey yet? Have you looked in the mirror and told yourself, this ends today? Because no one's coming to save you, brother. No mentor, no friend, no miracle. It's just you and the man you could become. And I know it hurts right now. I know you're tired. I know you're angry. But that's good. That means the fire is still there. That means you still care. Don't let that flame die out again. Use it, feed it. Let it burn through every excuse, every fear, every doubt. You've been betrayed by your own comfort long enough. Now it's time to rise. Not tomorrow, not someday, now. Because one day, you'll look back and realize this was the moment the weak version of you died and the real one was born. This is your vengeance arc, your resurrection, your rebirth. Falling isn't the end. It's the evidence that you dared to move forward. The only men who never fall are the ones who never step into the arena. So if you've stumbled, if you've hit the ground, remember this: you are not defeated, just in the middle of your rise. I know how it feels to fall, to give your all, only to watch it slip through your hands, to feel that heavy silence after failure, when the world moves on, but you're still standing, wondering if you'll ever get back up. You smile in public, but behind that smile are nights where you question everything: your worth, your effort, your purpose. But listen closely. Falling doesn't mean you're weak. It means you were brave enough to climb. Scars aren't proof you lost. They're proof you fought. Life isn't a smooth path. It's a battlefield. Every fall is a wound, but also a weapon. Think of a sword forged in heat, struck by the hammer, burned and bent until it becomes unbreakable. You are that sword. Every fall is fire. Every setback is heat, sharpening of your edge. The ground you fell on can become the foundation you rise from. Picture this: you've been knocked down. Everyone thinks it's over, but slowly your fingers dig into the dirt. You push, you rise. Your legs shake, your chest burns, but your eyes are locked forward. That's the moment defeat dies. Because defeat isn't falling. Defeat is staying down. Tell me in the comments, what's one fall that taught you your biggest lesson? Your story might be the spark that helps another king rise. Yes, it hurts. Falling always does. The rejection letter, the exam you failed, the person who left, the dream that didn't work out. Pain is real, but pain isn't permanent. It's just the message before the transformation. Every failure carries a seed, a direction, a correction, a lesson. Defeat isn't written in the fall. It's written in the choice to never rise again. The strongest people you admire, they didn't win because they never fell. They won because they refused to surrender. Edison failed 1,000 times before he brought light to the world. J.K. Rowling was rejected again and again before her story touched millions. Their greatness wasn't born in success, was forged in rejection. And the same forge is shaping you. Failure isn't a dead end. It's a detour to destiny. When you rise after falling, something inside you changes. You're no longer fragile, no longer naive. You've met the ground, and you learned how to stand taller. The fall didn't break you, it built you. You're not who you were before. You're becoming who you were meant to. The version of you that rises is always stronger than the version that fell. Every fall leaves you with two doors. Stay down or rise. Stay down, and you let the fall define you. Rise, and you let it refine you. The truth is, the world doesn't remember those who never fell. It remembers those who fell and got back up. Anyway, legends aren't born in victory. They're born in recovery. Tomorrow morning, when the weight of yesterday still sits heavy, don't run from it. Face. Write down what it taught you. Take one small step forward. That's how kings rise. Not in one giant leap, but in quiet, consistent movement. Each step is a whisper that says, I'm not done yet. To fall is human, but to rise is divine. The world doesn't need men who've never fallen. It needs men who've fallen, risen, and shown others the way back up. Because when you rise, you don't just lift yourself, you give others permission to rise too. Your comeback could be someone else's courage. So if you've fallen, don't stay there. Don't make the ground your home. Rise. Rise with your scars. Rise with your lessons. Rise with your fire. Because you are not defeated. You, my friend, are becoming unstoppable. Until next time, keep working, keep grinding.